Good morning, it's Paul Scott here. I just thought I'm very, very quiet for news today. It's Friday, 18th of July, 2025, 20 past 8. Nothing much going on really. I've just done a quick note on Burberry. I think that's an absolute pile of crap. I mean, why it's worth 4.4 billion. Obviously, it's the brand value, isn't it? But I mean, there's no evidence of a turnaround at all. It's just a big PR announcement. So I've no idea why people are interested in Burberry. It doesn't make any money at the moment. Anyway, there was hardly anything else to write about. So I thought, well, let's do a little video to demonstrate some of the useful features as I'm learning to use ShareScope more. I absolutely love it. Now, I wouldn't be without it. I am a brand ambassador for ShareScope, unashamedly, because they help pay for my writing team, and it's a product I love, and I use it myself all day now, every day, and I happily promote things that I think are really, really good. So, and I don't promote things I don't think are good. So, okay, we've got that out of the way. So you should be able to see my screen here. This is the split screen. You have the list of shares on the left and then the individual shares on the right. You can change that if you just want the list. You click on that button at the top. See where my cursor is at the top? I'm just wiggling it. That is the blue screen to see just the database. All these columns here are customizable. So I've customized these to what I want. The split screen is that middle button there at the top. So I'm just on that blue bar at the top. See where I'm wiggling the cursor? That's the split screen, which I use most of the time. And then if you just want to then focus on an individual share, you click on the green screen. So that's all. And then financials there. And then you've got the sub tabs here. So I'm now much more comfortable about navigating it. Now you might think, gosh, she's got good eyesight. That's a very small screen. Well, actually I haven't. I've got terrible eyesight. So I need to make this bigger. So holding down Control and using the plus key on my keyboard, just like you can in Chrome, you can see the zoom there, 110% at the top, 120 if my eyes are really tired. Oh, look, it's made me bigger as well. Hello, hello. You might be able to see that I haven't shaved yet. So let's zoom out. That's better. That's more comfortable. So what have we got? Yeah, I want to make this a bit bigger so you can read it clearly in case you're on a tablet or something. That hopefully should be, that's nice and clear. I hope you can read that. So, right, what have we got then? 1,204 items. This is LSE, London Stock Exchange shares, excluding investment trusts. That's my default list, which I have a lozenge for here, so I can click on that. Say I want to look at FTSE 100 shares. That's by default. It now just lists the FTSE 100 shares. But actually, I'm not really interested in FTSE 100. So if I right-click on my mouse, toolbar design, you can customize it. You can customize everything in ShareScope. But you've got to realize that you can customize things to make use of it. So you can see here the toolbar buttons are. Now I put that there, LSE shares. I don't really want a FTSE 100 button. So I'll drag and drop it to the waste bin there and then click on OK. And you can see now here, it's given me a bit more text in those. So that's the default setting there. So that gives us now 1,204 items. Now, this is one of the things I use this for in my early morning routine. In literally the first few minutes of trading after 8 o'clock, I just double click on the percentages. And that immediately now flags up to me. Let's move me out of the way. That flags up to me the big percentage movers. This has made me much more responsive and aware of what's going on in the market using this simple feature here. So I can just double click it again to show me the big drops. And that will then pick up all the stuff that I haven't necessarily picked up on my first manual sweep of the RNS that me, and then obviously on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, me, John, Dave and Alan all sweep the RNS in the first hour. We pick up on nearly everything, but every now and again something slips through that we don't spot because some companies use a different news service. Anyway, so this feature here, I've got real-time prices on ShareScope. Oh my God, I couldn't do without it now. It's not cheap, obviously. It's 80 quid a month or something. But, one good trade and you make thousands. So I think people can be penny wise and pound stupid. You have to pay for the tools of the trade, in my opinion. So that's why. But if you don't want to pay that much, then obviously it's much cheaper to just get the delayed prices. But anyway, I find this brilliant. Now, I can straight away tell you something's happening with Senior. Now, the green blobs here, the news flags, this is really useful. I've customized this as well. There, I right-clicked there, and I can do all these things here. Where is the customize that column thing? Here you are, edit. So column options. I've highlighted the column options, edit. Right. It's a bit of a faff getting all this set up. ShareScope's not easy to use if you're new to it. It does require some hard work. Anyway, here you've got unread stories today are flagged in bright green. Well, that's what I want. That's what I'm interested in. Now, check the back period, today only. I set it to that. It was I think it was by default, maybe set to a week. But I found because I'm looking at it every day, I only want today. So that is how and now the news source, I've just put any, but you can narrow it down if you want to RNS, which might be more useful for you, and include mentions. I can't remember what that does, but you just compact flags to save space. Let's try that and see what happens. So anyway, this is now set basically for the today only. That's what I want the news flag to show. Oh, it said it was going to save space, but it's actually made it a bit wider, so I don't understand that. All the columns you can narrow if you want to, so I want it as narrow as possible. Now, what happens with this news flag then? Well, it's very simple. I'm not interested in Harmaker. I am interested in Senior, so I'll click there. Oh, I think it's made the lozenges a little bit smaller, so let's change that back again because I preferred it a bit bigger actually. So yeah, so it's not setting the column width, it's making the size of the flags smaller. I don't personally want them smaller. I preferred them at the size before. There we are, that's better. And then I'll make the column narrower because I know what the column's for, so I don't need to read the header particularly. Okay, good, that's put them back to how I like them. Now, I'm on 1204 items here. As you know, if you've followed my videos before, I do have a filter, a basic filter set up to declutter. So now I need to deselect the column, so I click on the deselect button. Right. That now takes me back to the standard menu here. You have to just practice to navigate it, and I'm more or less there, but filter, this is important. So apply or manage a filter. These are the filters I've set up. Now my cutout nanocaps one is the main one I use. So I can edit the details of that. Here we are. I've actually written what it is, but I've changed it to below 5 million market caps. Excludes 5 million and lower market caps. Also excludes some sectors I don't like. So I wrote that, and it's just a description to remind me what exclude nanocaps is for. So let's close that box. That's just the description of the filter. I want to actually apply the filter. So right, apply or manage filter, and then click on, oh, I'm in the way again. Click on OK. Right, and you'll see the 1,204 total shares has now dropped to a list of 797. So that makes it nice and manageable. And when the filter is being applied, it shows at the top here, and you can press that down arrow and have a look at what the filter is and adjust it. So if I decide actually today I want to look at market caps up to 10 million, I just change that to 10 and then click on apply, and it shades here the number of stocks you're excluding, you see, in a little graphic. It's really good, and you can turn individual things on and off. So you can customize all of this. It's really, really good. You just have to play. You just have to play with it and work out what you can do, trial and error. And now here we are. So this is now what I'm looking at. I'm trying to find the big moves early on in the trading today, the big moves that I didn't pick up. And the key one is Senior. So, right, I want to see what the news is on Senior. Because look, 879 million market cap. And I have my main value criteria here. 21 times forecast PE, 1.6% dividend yield, and price to book of 3.2. I've also got here, if I widen this, I've got the bid offer prices. If I'm just deciding I want to look at doing a trade, I can put my manual notes in here. Manual notes. Oh, I always do that with the second letter. Right, click on that, and you see, so just reminders, and you can obviously hide that column if you're not using it to give you more width. That's a custom column I set up for year-to-date price move. Volume today of the average volume. These are all customized, and you can just play away to your heart's content with that's deselect. So add column here if you want to have a rummage around and see what other columns there are. There's so many, and the tab here, general. Then what financial? I mean, there's just masses of stuff in here. All these variables. You can create columns. It's all a bit overwhelming. But if you just start playing with these things and say I want to focus on the operating margin today, the most recent 1 year ago, full year. Yeah, that looks quite interesting. So let's move that to there. Click on OK. There we are. So I've now got at the end here a new column for operating margin, and I can move that. No, that's to make it wider or narrower. I can move it using the move arrows here. So let's move that to the left and say I want to pop it there. There we are. I've created that, and then deselect. So you can just customize, and then you've got loads of different settings down at the bottom here, setting equities overview, but there are all these other ones. So again, more or less infinitely customizable, but I tend to keep it simple, just have my one view here, which I just tweak as I go along. And then you can move to the left using the arrow keys, I think. Yes, there we are. I sometimes get lost with this. So you just click on it and then use the left and right arrow keys to scroll through the columns there. Okay, so we were looking at senior again, weren't we? So let's get back to that. So left click on the green lozenge, the news flag, and there you are. It gives you all of today's news. Starting with the RNS there, and then the AN is the, I think, associated news. That's little summaries that you get as well on these. Now, I'll click on the top one because I want to look quickly at all of them. Let's move me out of the way. Here we are. This is the news story 1 of 4, senior to receive initial 150 million for Aerostructure. So that is a significant disposal. So I'm just jotting that down. 150 million. So I'm going to cover this in today's small cap value report because that looks interesting. Press on the down arrow there. News story number 2 of 4. Total enterprise value of up to 200 million. Okay, that's giving us more detail. Down again. Senior agrees to sell Aerostructure to Sullivan Street Partners. Okay, so those 3 associated news stories are all just giving you quick one-line summaries. And then click down again. 4 of 4 is the actual RNS itself, which I'll Control plus, make it bigger for those of us who are blind as a bat. Sale of a 40 million buyback, that's worth noting as well. Plus 200 million EV, 40 million buyback BB. Right, just jotting those down. Private equity, high quality differential products, blah, blah. So blah, blah, blah. Anyway, bottom line for me, this is I've got the bare bones of what the transaction is there. But the main thing is the share price has gone up 16%. So let's close the news. Now, look, the green news flag has now gone white because this is brilliant. It detects that you've read those announcements. Isn't that useful? So if something new comes up for senior, it'll go green again. So I find that incredibly useful, that news flag. So I now know, oh, look, it's slipped back a bit, 11.5. I'm going to make this a bit smaller. That's the percentage gain. So I might want to look at the intraday chart. So let's widen the right-hand side and go. You can see now it's focused. As I'm highlighting senior, it's now showing me senior here. So let me go to the chart. Now, I've just by default got it on 6 months, and I love candlesticks. I think they're much easier to view than a line. Now, the good thing about this is daily bars, so you have to watch what I'm clicking on. So it's clicked on 1 day. Well, I can do intraday charts. So let's have a look at well, we want to zoom in on the detail today. So let's go to 1 minute. And obviously that won't change it because there's far too much detail for it. But so I changed the time frame now to, let's say, 3 days. And look, I'm now getting actual, this is this morning. Look, it spiked up to about £2.25. It's already coming down now. It's come down to £2.07. So I'll change it literally just to 1 day now. And here you are. You can see the same detail basically. So it's people are banking profits after that spike up. So the market is in price discovery, isn't it? There's 2 days. That's a bit better because you can see it in the middle. So a big spike this morning. It'll be interesting to see where Senior settles today. Let's look at the financials of Senior. 776 market cap. Forward P is quite high. Dividend yield quite low. Solid enough balance sheet, 3.3 times. So that means it's got, and I like the balance sheet tab here. I can left and right. Sorry if I'm doing this too fast, but you can go back years as well. Let's put it in full screen. There we are. Look, you can just see years worth of P&Ls or balance sheets all on one screen. Then you can easily see the trend. It puts them in the American format, which I'm not madly keen on. But you can customize it. I did start customizing my own balance sheet. So if I click on custom here at the top, look, I start Paul's balance sheet, but I kind of ground to a halt on that. But the key number I like that I bolded is net tangible asset value. So I can follow that along here and look, 242 million is pretty good. So I must, when I get around to it, I must finish off this customized balance sheet. But and then I've even put in some summary P&L items here as well. So you can, everything's customizable. And one of the ideas at ShareScope that was there saying, once I've got mine set up exactly how I want it, we could then maybe let ShareScope users just click on a button that sets it to a Paul Scott settings. But I don't feel I'm ready for that yet because I'm still learning how to use it. But the forecast tab is incredibly useful. This is on Senior. You've got the trend of EPS there, including the forecast. The dotted line is indicated when it's moving to forecasts. That's the current year forecast. These are future year forecasts. You've got 3 years of the forecast for every company. This is the equivalent of the Stockopedia graph, but just in a different layout, which confused me at first, but I've got used to it. This is showing you the trend of the forecasts over the last couple of years, and the blob is obviously where we are now. And then that's the projected year end. So it takes a bit of getting used to. And that where you've got the blob here in early 2025 is the last reported result, as you can see there. These are the current year forecasts. So, and then you've got all this detail for the forecasts. So you've got everything here, chapter and verse on EBITDA, pre-tax profit, post-tax EPS, and so on, and the increase on last year, and then the following 2 year forecasts as well. So really, really useful, that forecast tab. And then, as I say, balance sheet I look at here, and I just scroll down. Always in the way. I scroll down here to the net tangible asset value line. That's per share. Here it is, net tangible asset value, 242 million. That looks all right to me. So the balance sheet at Senior, I think, is okay. Let's zoom out to I like 7-year charts because then I can see pre-COVID. So I do that with custom. Number of years. Just pause this or replay bits if I'm going too fast for you, because that's why it's a video. So 7 years I like, because that keeps enough detail on it. Here we are. This is the 7-year chart of Senior. So here you can see at the beginning of 2020, COVID, bang, the pandemic. And then, of course, that huge market rally we had that kind of peaked in mid to late 2021. And look, Senior's actually done all right since then. And then it's broken out quite strongly, today. So that's a chart breakout for those of you who like that sort of thing. And again, you can customize and set all these things at the bottom. There are various settings. I'm, again, a little bit inexperienced at customizing all these settings, so I tend to just do it manually each time. I've still got a lot to learn. It's a voyage of discovery. And then the DD I thought was due diligence, but it's not. It's director dealing. So this is showing your major shareholders. You do sometimes get duplications, and it has a little D next to it. So just bear that in mind. There aren't any here, but that's quickly telling me, and it tells you their percentage. So one Alantra Asset Management is the biggest with 16.8. Scroll down and you've got all the director trades here. You have to obviously go through those and work out what they all are, but the value column is the key one, isn't it? So a director sale there in March this year, and a dividend reinvestment. Yeah, 211 director sale. Not great. Another director sale here on the so on 10th of March. It looks like some of the directors cashed in their chips, or some of them. What have they got remaining? David Squires, he sold 211 grand's worth. Where is he? There he is. He's got 1.1 million. And what are the shares? What's the price of the shares? Doesn't put the value next to that, does it? What were senior shares again? Summary, that's the key one. £2. So yeah, he's got over 2 million quid's worth. So yeah, he sold some of them. Okay, this looks quite interesting. Anyway, I think we spent enough of time on that. So I'll write up something for the small cap value report on senior. And then these are the other moves of the day, but there's no news for them. I'm not interested in those little tiddlers there. Anything else? Ocado, that reported yesterday. That's up another 4.5%. I don't rate that at all. Let's have a look at the news. Oh, Barclays has raised the price target. So that's really useful. The associated news items come up there. Let's click on it to say we've read it. Get rid of that. And it goes white. So that again is very handy. A few other things here moving about. I quite like Stelrad. Creighton's, that dropped the other day. That's bouncing a bit this morning. So yeah, that's giving me an idea for what's moving today. Oh, Gym Group up 3%. What's their news? Somebody sold 40 million quid's worth of shares from Associated News. Okay, fair enough. Somebody sold some shares in it. Now the flag's gone white. So really, really useful. Future we covered yesterday and we like it. It's very cheap on a PE basis, but there you are, 5.9 times. But people are worried about the potential issues with AI, I think, on that one. So what's the news on Future Group? It's just a buyback. So again, you have to click on this to read that and say you've read it. Yep, get rid of that. The flag's gone white. So this is part of my process each morning to make sure I picked up on all the important news. Double click for the drops. GS Technologies, Alan wrote a thing about that. It's an arbitration, from the seller of something. It's a load of junk. It's one of my steaming turd stocks, I think, GS Technologies. GSK, 53 billion. What's that then? I don't follow that one. Let's see what. Blenrep US ODAC outcome. What the hell does that mean? Oh, here we are. Blenrep does not win US FDA committee something or other. So it looks like it's some sort of FDA. GlaxoSmithKline. Oh, that's the. It's hilarious. I know all these nano caps, but I don't know anything about gigantic mega caps. It's a pharmaceuticals company, isn't it? That's dropped 6%. So it looks like they've had some negative regulatory thing. Look at that forward PE, 8.7. Nice yield as well. So, but negative balance sheet. So that is already saying to me that might be worth a look. GlaxoSmithKline, Softcat. I always think of Top Cat when I hear that. So I hear that Top Cat jingle. He's the leader of the gang. Okay, stop that. So what do we got with Softcat? JP Morgan places Softcat on negative catalyst. So you see, you're picking up the important broker news from this news flag thing, which is the AN news service. That's really useful. I think I've gone on for long enough, so I might stop that. Oh, that's one of mine, Seeing Machines, but there's no news there. You get the picture. This is... so what I do, each day I set up a new portfolio for the day's news. Here we are, the date backwards, and then small cap value report. So that I can keep track. And now there's not much news today. So my portfolios, let's look at yesterday's. That was a humongous report. So this was all the shares we reported on yesterday in alphabetical order. So what I do between 7 and about 10 past 7, I just put all the tickers in here for all the shares we're going to write about. And that I can then just quickly sort it by market cap like we do in our report. And then I can just punch in the percentage price moves on the day. So this is a very useful tool. And then I've got also obviously my own portfolios. My watch list here is set up so I double click on percentages each day to see which shares on my watch list are moving up and moving down. Robert Walters, I'm tempted by that one. I'm look at the chart. Look at that. It's crazy, isn't it? But it's not making any money anymore. That's the trouble. But as a cyclical recovery thing, that could really recover strongly if it does, if you start to see glimmers. So I'm really tempted to start dipping my toe in with the staffing companies. Goodwin's quite an interesting company. A lot of these are interesting. Some of these I hold, some I don't. So no major moves today. Let's look at drops. Yeah, nothing much going on there really. Okay, I think I've gone on for long enough. Those are just some of the useful features that I'm discovering on ShareScope. Oh, I put in as well, you can see there, I put in the previous company ex divi date. Now, the reason I put that in is because sometimes shares drop sharply because they've just gone ex divi and I didn't realize. So I put the ex divi date in there. Now, if I double click on that, here you are. It's showing me I've sorted it by date, the most recent ex divis. So Porvair went ex divi yesterday, today. And then here you've got a bunch of them. That's on my watch list. Let's go back to the full market. So cutting out the nano caps, I've got 730 out of the main market. Yeah, here we are. Previous company ex divi date. Notice that is yesterday. 91 Porvair and Victorian Plumbing all went ex divi yesterday. And then you've got there's a gap there, a week's gap, 10th. Here you had a load of them went ex divi on the 10th. So just having that column there, you can double check that you don't need to panic if a share's down. That a high yielding share suddenly drops 5%. It might be because it's just gone ex divi. So that column there flags that up for me. Right, I think that's long enough. You know me, I'll just go on forever if I carry on. So let's stop the video there. Hope that was interesting. Give me any feedback. If you like these, I'll do more of them. But I think they're quite good. So, well, we'll see. All right, I'll love you and leave you. Bye for now. Bye.